Hi, this is Dr. A. Welcome to Corner of Dr. A. Today, we are talking about something we all wrestle with, how to regulate emotions without shutting them down and how to express them without blowing up. Emotions are automatic. You don't get to choose whether they show up, but you do get to choose what you do with them. I like to think of emotions like the soda inside a sealed bottle. Life shakes the bottle, sometimes gently, sometimes violently. If you don't decide when and how to release the pressure, the bottle will make that choice for you, and it usually picks the worst possible moment. That's when emotions erupt as angry outbursts at people who didn't deserve it, tearful breakdowns that catch you off guard, or burnout that sneaks up until you cannot move. Take anger, for example. It's what psychologists call a secondary emotion, but I like to think of it as the guard dog that rushes in to protect the softer feelings hiding behind it. Underneath, frustration, fear, disappointment, or even shame. The interesting thing is, society often gives anger a pass. We say things like, oh, he's always angry, as if it's a personality trait, maybe even a sign of strength. But chronic anger isn't strength. It's often a sign that someone hasn't learned how to regulate their emotions. I'm not saying you shouldn't feel angry. Anger can be a signal that something is wrong. But the real question is, what do you do with it once it shows up? And it's not just anger and sadness we need to think about. Anxiety can feel like a car alarm that keeps going off even when there's no intruder, loud, exhausting, and hard to ignore. Eckhart Tolle once said, worry pretends to be necessary but serves no useful purpose. I agree with part of that. Worry is a visitor. But like any visitor, we can decide whether to re-invite them or thank them for stopping by and show them the door. Sometimes worry is just noise. Sometimes it's an invitation to prepare, plan, or pay attention. The wisdom is knowing the difference. Guilt can be like carrying a phone with a low battery burning all day. You can still function, but the nagging signal is always there, quietly draining your energy. And if you ignore and never recharge, the moment you really need your phone, it shuts down on you. Even envy, if we listen to it, can point to something we secretly wish for ourselves. Our bodies keep the score here. Anxiety might sit in your stomach like a heavy stone. Guilt might press on your chest, and joy might lift your shoulders without you even noticing. When you ignore these signals, they don't disappear, they get louder. Aaron Beck, the founder of cognitive behavioral therapy, pointed out that emotions don't just appear out of thin air. They're fueled by thoughts, sometimes so quick you don't notice them. Here is an example. Someone cuts in front of you at a pharmacy. You feel that instant flash of anger because you think they disrespected me. Now imagine the same thing happens, but you overhear them explaining their child is sick and they need medication urgently. Are you still angry? Probably not, because your thoughts about that event have changed. The situation didn't change, only your interpretation did. That's how powerful our thoughts are in shaping emotions. Every emotion, even the ones we would rather avoid, has a role. Fear is like the neighbor banging on your door to warn you, something is wrong, pay attention. Joy is the friend who pulls you toward the people and moments that matter. Sadness is the quiet companion who sits beside you and says, you have lost something important, slow down. And crying is the body's cleaning crew. Dr. A actually reminded me of this cool research the other day. Dr. William Frey found that emotional tears, unlike onion tears, contain stress chemicals like ACTH. Your body is literally washing stress out of your system. And here is the magic. Crying flips a switch in your nervous system that helps you calm down. Sometimes the fastest way to feel steady again is to let yourself fall apart for a moment. It reminds me of the story of Princess Eve. Her tears were said to turn into jewels, not because they were rare, but because they came from genuine empathy and compassion. Her kingdom thrived when she allowed herself to cry, because those tears were shared to help others. But when she locked them away to appear strong, the kingdom began to wither, and so did she. Our emotions work the same way. When we release them in healthy ways, we don't just heal ourselves, we often give something of value to those around us. The problem comes when we keep shaking the bottle without ever letting out the pressure. That's when emotions leak out sideways, snapping at your partner over nothing, crying in the middle of a meeting, or finding yourself completely drained. And in relationships, suppressed emotions don't just disappear. They show up as distance, miscommunication, and even resentment. Matthew Lieberman and colleagues' 2007 research on affect labeling, the simple act of naming what we feel, shows that it lowers amygdala activity and helps the brain regulate itself. That's why the first step is to notice and name what's going on inside you. In my emotional composting video under coping strategies, I called this Name It to Tame It. You might check out the video if you want more on that technique. Give your emotions regular exits. For some, it's a 10-minute cry appointment. For others, journaling without censoring. Movement, walking, dancing, running can move emotions through your body. Creative outlets like painting, music, or storytelling can turn raw feelings into something tangible. Remember that line cutting example? Here is how you can use it with one of my favorite tools, the thought log. Before you start, rate your unwanted or uncomfortable feeling on a scale from 1 to 10, where 10 is the worst and 1 is the least. Let's say you are at 6 in the line cutting situation. Now, write down 4 things. 1, the triggering event, that means what happened. 2, the emotion you felt right then and there. 3, the thought that flashed through your mind before the emotion. And 4, an alternative, more balanced thought. Then check in again. Where is your number now? Is it still a 6 or has it dropped? Keep going with alternative thoughts until your number comes down to a 1 or even 0. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes, and the more you control your emotions instead of letting them control you, it slows the reaction, shines a light on those hidden thoughts, and often changes the emotions entirely, just like in that line cutting example. Because putting on a brave face isn't regulation, it's suppression. Research by James Gross shows suppression doesn't make emotions disappear. It actually increases your body's stress response. True strength isn't locking your feelings away. It's facing them, expressing them, and directing them in a way that serves you and the people you care about. If this resonated with you, please like, follow, comment, and share so others can join the conversation. And I will leave you with this. Emotions are not here to control you. They're here to speak to you. Listen to them before they have to shout.